You guys know that that is almost an impossible feat, and he can do it.
Here we go. We're back on FT, and we're talking to Dayton Moore, Senior Advisor of Baseball Operations for the Texas Rangers, former longtime General Manager of the Kansas City Royals as well. Dayton, great to have you on. Exciting time of year. How you doing?
Great, guys. How you doing today?
Really good. Really good. A lot of action going on. I don't know if you've seen the news that we're discussing, and we don't have to get into the individual player name, but have you come across any situations where a player's concerned about arm care and you have to go back and forth with that player about, either an extension or just how to come up with a plan that makes sense? And then, throw in the caveat that you might trade that player.
Yeah, it's so complex, and I always felt that the most important thing is to listen to the player, communicate with the player, have that dialogue where you're giving them an opportunity to weigh in. You're certainly going to have in-depth discussions with the medical team and get their opinion as well, their expert opinion, and of course the manager and the pitching coach. And I think between the player, the pitching coach, the manager, the medical people, I think it's certainly an opportunity to make sure that the communication is strong and ultimately you make the best decision, for the player. And you always want to look out for the long-term interest of the player as well. That's the priority. That's the main thing. That being said, as a general manager, you got to sell the ship. You got to look out for the best interest of the team as well. But I think when it comes to the health of the player, that is without a doubt the most important thing to concern yourself with.
How do you balance that? Because I'm going to put this caveat out there first. Dayton Moore is an incredible GM, won a World Series, has now helped the Rangers and CY do whatever a special advisor does. But all those accolades, he is an incredible man. And so when he says you have to worry about the player and what's best for the player, he's not blowing smoke. This is not somebody that blows smoke. So I got to put that caveat out there. There's plenty of people that will be like, he doesn't believe. He lives this, he believes it. But my question is, how do you make that decision then? Because you are the GM. You have to build the next contender at the team that you're at, where this guy's like, you know what? I gotta make sure I'm looking out for number one here. When that's not even your MO as a GM. You don't even look out for number one. You're looking out for other people, and that's the reason I have so much respect for you. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, I think there's obviously a rhythm to the major league season, and you take certain players, you go into the season, you have projections on how many innings, how many starts. You always obviously want to look out for their workload, and there's opportunities through the course of that season, whether you skip a start. You obviously you try to manage their rest and get them through the season healthy, because that's the bottom line. And as you all know, I mean, there's very few starters that are gonna take the mound tonight that are feeling 100%. And that's why, again, you've got to have such great communication with the necessary department heads, and of course the communication with the player as well. But you got to pay attention to what the player's experiencing, what his side session was like, what his workload's been has he had a lot of stressful innings, what's he experiencing off the field, because as you know, stress off the field creates stress, and leads to sometimes health issues and focus issues on the field, which can lead to injuries as well. So I think you got to just pay attention to all aspects of it, Kratzy. And but it's obviously complex. And again, there's so many more people weighing in today than ever before. And then you can talk about how we develop pitchers in the minor leagues. When I first was the director of player development with the Atlanta Braves, our goal with all of our young pitchers was to make sure they had anywhere from 150 to 170 innings throughout the course of the minor league season. Now we're starting to monitor at 100 and 125, and there's very few minor league pitchers that ever get that opportunity to pitch 150 to 170 innings. And of course, you plug in winter ball opportunities, the Arizona Fall League opportunities to help finish pitchers off as well. And so again, it's just very complex, and we haven't figured it out yet. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when you look at all the money that we've spent in technology, all the money that we've spent in personnel, all the trainers, the physical therapies, the sports science departments, all of the different machinery we have and technology that we utilize. When a player gets hurt, it's still 4 to 6 weeks, and it takes time. The human body is very complex, as we all know, and each individual is different. But again, I think it comes back to communication with the pitcher, what they're experiencing, give them some buy-in, give them some say about if they need some time off, if they need to skip a start, maybe they go into the outing with 60 to 70 to 75 pitches, what have you. You just have to monitor it the best you can, because the number one job of a pitching coach, I've always believed, is to keep the pitcher healthy. That's the number one job. Regulate their effort between outings and make sure that they go to the post. And the only way they're going to go to the post is if they're healthy.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I want to talk a little bit about the trade deadline. It's looming on Tuesday. There hasn't been that many trades. For one, have you seen it ever like this? And, why hasn't there been that much action going on yet? Are people stalling? They want to wait, maybe they'll get something better. Like what can you think about, that whole situation?
Todd, every year is different, as you know. I think that when teams look at, when general managers look at their team, I think there's three things that you got to evaluate. You got to evaluate, the type of year that your players are having, whether they're having career type years, and the season's just going well for them. Secondly, you've got to evaluate the hunger of your team. And do they have a strong desire to get back to the World Series, win a World Series, what have you? And then you got to look at the general health of your team. And if you feel good about all those three areas, I think it's important that you do everything you can to supplement the roster so you can match up against the very best teams, in baseball. And you do what you can to add to your team and get talent to blend in with your current group. And some organizations, they may feel like maybe they're not healthy, maybe they don't feel like they have a chance to win. But I always felt that was a flawed way to look at it, because I believe in major league players, I believe in teams, and if you supplement them with the right talent, you never know what can happen, and you can never ever put limitations on a major league player and a major league team, because they have the ability to exceed expectations. But but it's hard to set in another GM's chair and to know exactly what they're dealing with, what the expectations of the ownership is, what the expectation of their payroll is, and then certainly the health of their minor leagues, and if they have an appetite to move, prospects. And I never liked to trade major league players. I hated that part of it, and I never liked to trade our minor league prospects as well. But it's a part of what you have to do, and because you can only play 9, and it's a 26-man roster. So you want to make sure you put the best team you can on the field each and every night. And I think there's a lot of teams that have an opportunity to win this year.
All right, Dave, before I get to my question, can you try to center yourself up so you're centered in this screen there? Other way. There we go. Oh, nope. Nope. A little more to your right. There you go.
Okay.
This is awesome, by the way. I love this. Former Royals player helping his GM.
Hey, Crashy knows technology is not my deal.
I know it's not your deal. That's right. Perfect. Right there. There you go. You don't even have to look at yourself in the camera. I see you checking out. You're handsome. You got great, you got the flow going. It is perfect. So now we'll get to the question. What's the temperature of the Rangers right now? You're over there, I think, a special advisor. I see CY sitting in his chair. He's 6'10", so he's really tall. You're behind him. massaging his back, maybe getting in his neck a little bit. Like, what is the temperature in that room right now based on where the division is, where the team is, the health, and all the things that you just mentioned?
Well, we feel good about our team. We really do. I mean, we haven't, we've had our ups and downs this year like everybody has. CY is a tremendous competitor. He's going to do everything that he can to help this team get better. Obviously, Bruce Bochy's a four-time world champion, and his expectations are to win again and get back to the World Series, and so we're just focused right now on figuring out how we can get better, evaluate the landscape, what teams are willing to do, what teams aren't willing to do, and but we'll try to do what we can to help this group. And we've won 5 in a row. We feel good coming out of the break. We were getting ready to start up here in a little bit, and hopefully we can win today, and then just continue to push to win this division. But we feel good about our team, and like I said, CY is not going to quit. I mean, he's going to push things all the way to the end, and he understands you've got a small window of opportunity to win, and we feel like we can do that.
Dayton, obviously the AL West record-wise right now has been down a little bit, and that's been helpful, of course, for your ball club because it's just an ongoing theme in baseball. You win a World Series, very difficult not only to replicate that, we haven't seen that in a long time, but even just the follow-up season after playing, a month of just crazy all-out battle baseball. So my question to you is, was there ever a time period in the last few weeks where there was a high level of concern with the front office, kind of before the Mariners went down this slumpy path, that maybe the Rangers would have to do a little bit of dealing from this team and not be able to make the playoffs? That was one. And then two is, what do you think's been the biggest detriment to the team so far this season that's held them back from being what they can be?
Well, I think that you're always trying to manage on both fronts. You have a group of people in your front office that are planning best case scenario and some that are planning worst case scenario. And because, as you know, the major leagues is so unpredictable, it changes minute to minute, certainly day to day, and so you never want to get caught off guard. And even last year, we got in on the last day, the second to last day, we won game 161 in Seattle to put us in the wild card. And so you're always managing best case and worst case scenario. But we felt, all along that this team is certainly can get on a roll. We've obviously Garcia hasn't had the type of year and the type of season he did last year. That being said, he's a threat in the middle of the lineup. And as CY and I were talking this morning, I mean, he's getting closer, and we feel like that, he's got a chance to carry up at some point in time in the next couple months. Hopefully we get Josh Young back in the next week or so. The pitching's been tremendous. The bullpen has been much better than it was last year. The starting pitching has been consistent. We're hoping to get a few guys back here in the next couple weeks to even fortify the pitching staff a little bit more. Seager and Simeon are two guys that we think are amongst the very best in the league and in the history of the league, and they're capable of carrying a team, and so we feel good. Nate Lowe's gotten hot. He's been really, really consistent for us, the last few weeks, and so there's a lot of strong predictors for this team going forward. And what can I say about Langford? And to watch this young player emerge and the at bats that he's had really from day one, and now he's starting to get consistent results, and he's played a tremendous left field. It reminds me a lot of Alex Gordon when he first broke in to left field, and the transition that he made, the work ethic of him, of Wyatt, is tremendous. And I think he's got a chance to win a Gold Glove out there at some point in time. And so, again, there's just a lot of strong predictors for our team right now, and they're hungry, and they know they haven't played their best baseball. But the fact of the matter is, they believe, and we believe, our better days are ahead, and we're going to finish strong.
Where does CY, staying on the Rangers for a tick longer, where does CY fall short because he's an ex-player? I said last year the moves, and we talked about it all the time. As an ex-big league player, being in a situation he and I talked about missing the playoffs by a game, you're tending to push too much. Where does he fall short as a player now as a GM, as an ex-player now as a GM?
That's a great question. I've never even asked myself that about CY, and it's my job to kind of be his bench coach. But he's, I think that the thing with CY is he's just going to keep getting better and better. I mean, so just the fact that, he broke in as a player, the commissioner's office, and right into the major league front office. And so he'll admit that he doesn't have some of the foundational things of being an area scout or a coach or spending time in the minor leagues or in draft rooms and what have you. But he's a fast learner, and he is so hungry to get better. And I think he reminds me so much of John Sherholtz when I worked with John. I mean, he's extremely competitive, as we all know. He's very smart. He includes people. He has an appetite and a hunger to hire the best people that he possibly can, and he wants to be great. And he's not satisfied with just winning one world championship in Texas. And what a great what a great thing it was to bring the first ever world championship to the Texas Rangers, and for him to be the general manager of that team. And I just think it's an incredible mark in the history of the franchise it's forever celebrated. And but he wants to do more. And I'm just very, very happy and thankful, Kratzy, to be a part of his journey.
All right, last one here. Looking at the Royals from afar, I know you're still there. I know you're not with the organization after being fired, but I know that we reconnected in the 10-year anniversary. So you're still around and you still love those guys, Piccolo and everybody in that front office. Do you sit there and have a little like, man, they got all this financial flexibility. When I was there, I would have loved to have some financial flexibility.
No, I'm just so happy that they're doing well. When we won in 15 and we made a decision that we were going to ride it out in 16 and 17, we knew we were going to be a part of a major rebuild. And Mr. Glass, the owner at the time, was more than willing to give us the time and the opportunity to do it again. And I'm just so thankful that many of the players that we drafted and signed during that rebuild are up there making their mark. And watching Bobby Witt Jr. play is just incredible. I mean, there's very few players I've ever seen in my lifetime in the game that can help you win a game in so many ways. I mean, he is truly a five-tool player with great skill and a great mind to play. And he has the ability for a baseball. And you guys know that is almost an impossible feat. And he can do it, and he can do it almost on a weekly or monthly basis. I mean, he can just beat you in so many ways. And so to watch him play has been special. Of course, see Salvi up there leading and doing what he does. But again, just very happy that many of the players that Lonnie Goldberg and our development staff drafted and signed are up there doing well, because it's that's the great part of this game. The humbling part is the fact that you get to be a part of a baseball player's journey, whether they make it to high A, double A, triple A. Of course, you want them all to make it to the major leagues, but when they make it to the major leagues and they're on the cusp of having great careers, I mean, it is really, really special. And I'm very thankful that those guys are up there doing well, and the city appreciates it. And again, most of those guys in that front office either coached at some point in time or hired them with the Braves, and we brought them over to Kansas City. And I'm glad they're getting an opportunity to win, because I think if I could look into a crystal ball and have a dream for everybody, I wish every player could be in the playoffs and win a World Series, and every front office person, every scout, every coach, every manager, every owner, it could experience what it's like to win a World Series, and how humbling that is, and how much effort it takes, and how much success that it takes for so many individuals at every level to do their part to win. There's nothing that's more fulfilling, and I truly wish that everybody a part of this game could experience that.
All right, last one. I said last one before. This is truly the last one. You were still the GM of the Royals last year, and we heard reports that possibly Salvador Perez was going to get traded. What did that lead up look like? And what kind of conversations did you have with Salvi in those moments? Obviously, it never happened. And what could it have looked like if it did happen? Do you just not talk to the player, or do you talk to him ahead of time, especially when he's a franchise guy like that?
Well, Kratzy, when I was there in Kansas City, we never talked about trading Salvi. We had obviously signed him to 3 long-term contracts. When I was the GM, and I know that he had a no trade, limited no trade. Well, he was a 10-5 guy actually, so he had a full no trade. And I know that when I was with Texas last year, and they had talked about moving him and trying to. I can't speak for JJ. I don't know why or what have you, but there was talk that they were interested in moving him at the time. But I don't know any of the details of that because obviously I was with Texas at the time and not Kansas City. But when you do have a player that is a 10-5 guy or has a no trade, you communicate with them, and you always want to know what they're feeling, how they feel about the team, their own career, how you can come alongside of them and assist them and putting them in a good spot so they can be successful. But I never felt it made any sense to go down the trail with another team or another general manager about possibly moving a player. I'd always want to talk to and get a feel for if they were willing to waive their no trade before you entered discussions.
Dayton, this was awesome insight at the perfect time. Really appreciate you coming on and explaining a lot of this. Our fans ask about it all the time, and you were on the request list. So thank you for swinging by. We really appreciate it. And good luck to your Rangers. See if you guys can do it again, back to back. It's been a minute. We'd love to see it.
Yeah, it would be great. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great day.
That was awesome. FT fam. We're back. It's Kratz. It's AJ. It's Braun. And we do want to shout out our sponsor today, AG1. Their in-house team of doctors and scientists and researchers with third-party experts on studies that help to validate the benefits of AG1 stand out to us. And that gives you one less thing that you have to research and worry about. And 97% of people in a research study felt more energy after 30 days of drinking AG1. Kratz, you look very alert and well-rested. You might have had a little AG1 to drink this morning already.
It's the game's easy. I actually missed my AG1 this morning. Busy morning this morning. I missed a lot of things, but yeah, I notice a difference when I don't have it. Like, it's almost like, I know this is weird. It's probably not medically sound, but I yawn more in the mornings that I don't have my AG1 by 10 o'clock. Like, it sounds so dumb, but it's like something's just a tick off when I don't have it because I've been consistently taking it.
I like that. I think, we need more AG1 for Kratz so that it doesn't yawn. That would be
Or I just need to take what I have.
Yeah, or that. They're constantly putting their formula to the test. It's trusted by experts and medical professionals, and it's backed by multiple research studies. So you can see it on the bottom of the screen right now, or if you're listening to the pod, take ownership of your health. Visit drinkag1.com/foul, or you can hit that QR code. We'll put that QR code up a few more times during the show here, but it's what we recommend here to support whole body health. And you can start your journey with AG1 by getting a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/foul. Got to go to drinkag1.com/FOUL.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.